Commander Lisa Wright tried to sit still in the uncomfortable alien chair. It was not made for human bodies. The metal was cold against her back, and the seat was too wide and too shallow. But she kept her face calm as she looked across the table at the 5 representatives of the Galactic Council. The council members were very different from each other. On the far left sat Ambassador Zylock, who looked like a giant blue grasshopper with 4 arms and compound eyes that reflected the room in hundreds of tiny images. Next to him was Counselor Zrixel, whose body was like clear jelly that changed colors as she spoke. In the middle sat High Counselor Ixile, the oldest of them all. He had gray skin that looked like stone and moved very slowly. Then there was Representative Vorn, who floated above his chair in a cloud of gas. Last was Delegate Mika, who looked almost human except for her purple skin and the fact that she had no mouth, just a small hole that opened and closed as she breathed. "Let me confirm what you just said," High Counselor Ixile spoke in a slow, deep voice. "Humans need to become unconscious for 1/3 of each day?" Next to Lisa, Ambassador Claire Garcia nodded. "Yes, we call it sleep. It's when our bodies rest, and our brains sort through the day's information." The council chamber filled with strange noises, clicks and hums and whistles that the translation devices on Lisa's wrist turned into words. Unconscious? Defenseless? Like death but temporary? How do they not get eaten? Lisa exchanged a look with Lieutenant Paul Morgan, the 3rd member of their group. His eyes showed the same mix of surprise and amusement that she felt. The aliens thought sleeping was strange. "We are not defenseless," Paul explained. "We have safe places to sleep, and we wake up if there is danger." Claire added, "Our brains are still working during sleep, just in a different way. We even dream our minds create stories and images while we sleep." This caused even more commotion. Zylock's antennae twitched rapidly. "You hallucinate regularly by choice?" "Not by choice exactly," Lisa said. "It's a biological need. Without sleep, we get sick and eventually die." The council members moved back in their seats, as if Lisa had said humans needed to drink poison to live. "We would like to observe this sleep process," High Counselor Ixile said after a long pause. Lisa looked at Claire, who nodded. "I can demonstrate a short nap," Lisa offered. "It's a brief sleep." The security team at the edges of the room moved forward, their hands on strange weapons. Lisa raised her hands slowly. "It's completely safe. I'll just be resting for a few minutes." Lisa reclined in the uncomfortable chair, closed her eyes, and focused on relaxing her body. It wasn't easy with everyone watching her, but after years in the space service, she could fall asleep almost anywhere. Within a minute, her breathing slowed and her face relaxed. The room went completely silent. The council members and their staff stared at Lisa's still form. Only the gentle rise and fall of her chest showed she was alive. "Is she damaged?" Delegate Mika asked through her translator. "No," Claire explained quietly. "This is normal. She will wake up in a few minutes." Paul watched the aliens with interest. Some looked horrified, others fascinated. One smaller alien in the back was recording everything with a device that hovered near its head. True to her word, Lisa woke up after 5 minutes. She opened her eyes and sat up, stretching slightly. The room erupted in sounds. Some of the aliens moved back, others moved closer. Counselor Zrixel turned a bright yellow color that the humans would later learn meant extreme surprise. "You were unconscious," Zylock stated, his voice coming through the translator as both amazed and frightened. "Yes," Lisa said simply, "a very light sleep, but yes." "Are you the same being who sat there before?" High Counselor Ixile asked slowly. Lisa blinked in confusion. "Of course I am." Claire, understanding the question better, added, "We don't change during sleep. We're the same person before and after." This seemed to calm some of the council members, but they still looked unsettled. "In all our records of the thousands of sentient species we have encountered," Counselor Ixile said, "not one requires this sleep state. Not one becomes regularly unconscious as part of their normal cycle." "Really?" Paul couldn't hide his surprise. "Every animal on Earth sleeps in some form. We must study this further, Xylock announced. Humans may be the only sleeping sentient species in the known galaxy. A small alien rushed forward and handed a document to High Counselor Ixile. He read it slowly, then looked up at the humans. By Council rules, we must classify your species. Based on this strange sleep behavior alone, you qualify as Category 7 anomalous organisms. Claire leaned forward. Is that good or bad? It is neither, Ixile replied. It simply means you are very different from other known life forms. The last Category 7 species was discovered over 400 years ago. Lisa felt a mix of pride and concern. Humanity's first major interaction with alien life, and they were already considered bizarre. There is more about humans you should know, she said. Sleep is just one of our traits. More? Xylock's antennae stood straight up. Claire nodded. We also create fiction stories that aren't real, but we pretend they are. We consume mild toxins for pleasure like caffeine and alcohol. We have pets other species we keep for companionship. With each new fact, the council members' reactions grew more pronounced. Delegate Mika's breathing hole closed completely. For several seconds, Counselor Zrixel turned from yellow to a deep purple. Xylock's clicking sounds became so rapid that the translator couldn't keep up. We request permission to establish a human embassy on the council station, Claire said, trying to bring the conversation back to their original purpose. We want to learn about the galactic community and share information about Earth. The council members conferred among themselves. Their translators turned off so the humans couldn't understand them. Finally, High Counselor Ixile turned back to the human delegation. Permission granted, he said, but with special conditions. Your species is too unusual to treat like regular new members. We will assign a scientific team to work with you. And your living quarters must be modified for your ... sleeping periods. Lisa smiled. Thank you, High Counselor. We look forward to showing you that humans can be valuable allies, even if we are a bit strange by galactic standards. As they left the council chamber, Paul whispered to Lisa and Claire, Did we just become the galaxy's weirdest species because we take naps? Claire laughed softly. Wait until they find out we use money, get married, and keep secrets. They might classify us as Category 8. Lisa looked back at the still stunned council members. I think this is the beginning of a very interesting relationship with the galaxy. 3 months passed since the first meeting with the Galactic Council. The human embassy on the council station now had 20 people from Earth. They lived in a special section designed with doors that could close for their sleep periods. The aliens still found sleeping strange and somewhat scary. Dr. Allen Green stepped off the transport ship and looked around the massive docking bay. He was the newest human to arrive at the station. As a biologist, he had been sent to study alien life forms, but he quickly found that the aliens were more interested in studying him. Welcome, Dr. Green, Lisa said as she met him at the entrance to the human section. How was your journey? Long, Allen replied with a tired smile. 6 weeks in cryo-sleep makes for strange dreams. Lisa nodded. Well, get ready for more strangeness. The council has requested your presence at a science meeting tomorrow. They want to learn about human biology. The next day, Allen stood in a large room filled with alien scientists. They sat or floated or hung from the ceiling depending on their body types. All of them watched him with various sensing organs. Thank you for coming, said Dr. Zrixel, the gelatinous xenobiologist who had been at the first meeting. Today she was a light blue color. We have many questions about humans. Allen smiled. I'm happy to answer them. A tall, thin alien with 6 eyes raised a tentacle. Is it true that humans willingly consume substances that are toxic? Allen paused, thinking about how to answer. Well, yes. Things like coffee, alcohol, and spicy foods contain compounds that in large amounts would be harmful. But in small amounts, they give us pleasure or useful effects. The room filled with sounds of shock and surprise. You seek out toxins? Another alien asked. Our species can detect poisons at 1 part per million and avoid them instinctively. Most species evolved to be extremely sensitive to toxins, Dr. Zrixel explained, turning slightly green. The idea of consuming them for pleasure is disturbing. Alan tried to explain. Coffee helps us stay alert. Some alcoholic drinks help us relax. Spicy food creates interesting sensations. Interesting sensations? A crystalline being chimed from the back. You mean pain? Well, yes, a kind of pain, but one we enjoy, Alan said, realizing how strange it sounded. The meeting continued, with more questions about human biology. Alan explained about human immune systems, digestion, and reproduction. With each explanation, the alien scientists seemed more amazed and sometimes horrified. Meanwhile, in another part of the station, Lisa and Paul were training with the station's security forces. The council had asked them to demonstrate human physical abilities. Lisa lifted a metal bar that weighed about 50 kilograms. It felt heavy, but manageable to her. The alien security officers watched in what seemed like shock. Is that difficult? For you? Asked Chief Security Officer Krell, a stocky four-armed being with tough gray skin. It's heavy, but not too bad, Lisa replied. I could lift more if I needed to. Krell made a whistling sound that her translator didn't catch. That mass would crush most council species. Your homeworld must have extreme gravity. Earth's gravity is strong compared to many planets, Paul explained. But we didn't realize it made us so much stronger than other species. As they continued the training exercises, Lisa and Paul discovered that humans were physically stronger than nearly 90% of all sentient species in the galaxy. They could also endure more pain, heal faster from injuries, and survive in a wider range of temperatures. Later that day, Lisa, Paul, and Alan met in the human embassy to share what they had learned. They think we're super strong, Lisa said, shaking her head in disbelief. And they think we're crazy for drinking coffee and eating spicy food, Alan added. Paul laughed. Wait until they find out some humans jump out of flying vehicles for fun or climb frozen mountains in their free time. Their conversation was interrupted when an emergency alarm sounded throughout the station. Red lights flashed in the corridors. What's happening? Alan asked as they rushed out of the embassy. They reached the main hall just as a terrible screeching sound filled the air. Part of the ceiling had collapsed, and a heavy metal beam was falling toward a group of smaller aliens. Without thinking, Lisa ran forward and reached up. She caught the falling beam with both hands. It was very heavy, and the impact drove her down to one knee, but she held it up, keeping it from crushing the aliens beneath. Move! She shouted to the small aliens, who scurried away in fear. Several security officers, including Krell, rushed forward to help. Together, they moved the beam to the side and lowered it safely to the floor. When it was over, Lisa noticed that everyone was staring at her. Not just at her face, but at her arms and body, as if seeing her for the first time. You caught it, Krell said slowly, with your bare hands. Lisa looked down at her palms, which were scraped and already bruising. It was just instinct. Anyone would have tried to help. No, Krell said firmly. Most species could not have done that. The beam would have crushed them too. Word of Lisa's actions spread quickly through the station. By evening, the council had called an emergency meeting. Lisa, Paul, and Claire attended, along with Alan, who was asked to explain human strength from a biological perspective. High Counselor Ixile looked more serious than usual. Commander Wright, your quick action saved lives today, but it has also raised serious concerns. Concerns? Claire asked. About what? About the physical capabilities of humans, Zylock explained, his antennae twitching nervously. The beam Commander Wright caught would have killed most adult Vesperi instantly, yet she caught it with her bare hands. This, combined with your other strange traits, has caused some council members to request a review of your status, Ixile continued. Some have suggested classifying humans as potentially dangerous megafauna. Claire leaned forward. That's ridiculous. We saved lives today. Yes, Ixile agreed. But imagine if you had hostile intentions. A species that sleeps, consumes toxins for pleasure, and possesses such physical strength is ... concerning. We understand your concerns, Lisa said calmly. But humans have lived peacefully with each other and with thousands of other species. On our planet, we don't want to be feared. We want to be allies. The council members conferred among themselves for several minutes. Finally, Ixile spoke again. For now, we will maintain your Category 7 status. But we request that all humans on the station undergo full biological scans and provide detailed information about your physical capabilities. As they left the council chamber, Paul sighed. So now we're not just strange, we're dangerous too. It's a misunderstanding, Claire said. They'll learn that we're peaceful, Lisa nodded, but she wasn't so sure. She looked down at her bruised hands and wondered what other normal human traits might frighten their new galactic neighbors. 6 months had passed since humans first arrived at the Galactic Council Station. The human embassy had grown to 30 people, and more ships from Earth were on their way. Things had been going well until the message arrived from the Vraxian. Imperium. Claire Garcia stared at the screen in the embassy meeting room. The other humans gathered around her looked equally concerned. They're saying what? Lisa asked, reading the message again. The Vraxians have formally requested that humans be banned from council space, Claire said, her voice tight with worry. They're calling us an existential threat to all other species. Paul shook his head. That's ridiculous. We haven't threatened anyone. A new human diplomat named Ethan Hall spoke up. He had arrived just 2 weeks ago and was still learning about the complex politics of the council. The Vraxians are known for being suspicious of new species, but this seems extreme even for them. We need to understand why they think we're dangerous, Lisa said. Let's request a meeting with them. 2 days later, Lisa, Claire, Ethan, and Paul sat across from 3 Vraxian representatives in a secure meeting room. The Vraxians were tall, thin aliens with gray skin that looked like stone and had deep cracks running through it. Their eyes were small and black, and they had no visible mouth or nose. Thank you for meeting with us, Claire began. We're concerned about your request to the council. We want to understand why you see humans as a threat. The lead Vraxian, who had introduced himself as Supreme Commander Gorth, responded in a flat, emotionless voice that came through their translators. Humans possess a biological ability that makes you more dangerous than any weapon. You can lie, without showing any signs. The humans exchanged confused looks. All species can lie, Paul said. No, Gorth replied. They cannot. All other known sentient species experience immediate physical distress when attempting to deceive others. Their body temperature changes, they release specific pheromones, or their neural patterns shift in ways that are easily detected. But humans show none of these signs, added another Vraxian. We have studied the Council's recordings of your meetings. You can state things that are not true with no physical indicators, Ethan leaned forward. Are you saying that no other species in the galaxy can lie without it being obvious? Correct, Gorth said. It is a basic security feature of evolved intelligence, except in humans. The humans sat in stunned silence as they processed this information. That's why the council members always seem to believe everything we said, Lisa whispered to Claire. They didn't think we could lie to them. Claire turned back to the Vraxians. This ability isn't something we use to harm others. Honesty is highly valued in human culture. Yet you create entire false narratives for entertainment, the third Vraxian said. We have seen your movies and books. You call it fiction? We call it organized deception. Now the humans understood why the Vraxians feared them. In a galaxy where no species could lie without being caught, humans must seem incredibly dangerous. We need to address this with the full council, Ethan suggested. We can explain that our ability to create fiction and occasionally deceive is not a weapon. But before they could request a council meeting, the Vraxians made their move. They released footage from Earth to all council members. The footage showed human entertainment war movies, horror films, and violent video games presented as evidence of humanity's inherent bloodlust. The reaction was immediate. Many council species began avoiding the humans. Security around the human embassy doubled. Some council members called for humans to be removed from the station entirely. In an emergency meeting at the human embassy, Claire paced back and forth. The Vraxians have completely misrepresented us. They're showing fictional movies as if they were real events. The problem is that most species don't understand fiction, Ethan explained. To them, if something didn't happen, why would you pretend it did? It seems like madness or deception. Lisa stood up. Then we need to help them understand. We need to show them why fiction and imagination are valuable, not dangerous. They requested an emergency council session, which was granted after 3 days of tense waiting. In the Grand Council chamber, Claire stood before representatives of over 50 alien species. Many looked afraid of her. Others seemed angry. Honored council members, she began. I understand your concerns about humans. The Vraxians have told you that our ability to create fiction and occasional deception makes us dangerous. But what they see as a threat is actually one of humanity's greatest strengths. She took a deep breath and continued. Imagination, ability to think of things that don't exist, is what allows us to solve problems in new ways. It's how we've advanced our technology, our art, and our understanding of the universe. High Counselor HFY spoke. But you create violent stories. The images we saw showed humans killing each other. Why would you imagine such things if you don't wish them to happen? Fiction allows us to explore ideas safely, Claire explained. Stories about conflict help us understand ourselves better and teach us about courage, sacrifice, and the consequences of violence without actually experiencing them. For the next hour, Claire and the other humans tried to explain human creativity, imagination, and fiction to the council. They showed how fictional thinking had led to scientific breakthroughs and technological advances on Earth. Your species thinks of things that don't exist, Xylox said, his antennae twitching rapidly, and then you make them exist. It is disturbing but impressive. As the council debated, a new crisis emerged. Alarms blared throughout the station. A council security officer rushed into the chamber. High Counselor, we've detected Vraxian ships approaching the station. They're armed and have not responded to our communications. The council erupted in panic. Some members fled the chamber. Others called for immediate surrender to prevent violence. Lisa stepped forward. We can help. Let us work with your security. Forces? Ixyle hesitated, then nodded. Very well, but what can you do against Vraxian warships? We can think of solutions you might not imagine, Lisa said. We can use our creativity, the very thing the Vraxians fear, to save this station. Lisa, Paul, and several other humans joined the station's defense team. While the alien security forces prepared standard defensive measures, the humans suggested unexpected strategies, changing the station's shield frequencies randomly to confuse Vraxian sensors, using maintenance drones to create false targets, and sending out conflicting emergency signals to create confusion. The Vraxian ships, expecting standard defensive protocols, were unprepared for these unpredictable tactics. They hesitated, giving Council reinforcements time to arrive. Eventually, the Vraxian ships retreated without firing a shot. When the humans returned to the Council chamber, the mood had changed. The fear was still there, but now mixed with respect and curiosity. Your unusual thinking saved many lives today, High Counselor Ixyle acknowledged. Perhaps what makes humans dangerous also makes you valuable allies, Claire smiled. That's what we've been trying to tell you. Our differences don't have to divide us, they can make us stronger together. As they left the chamber, Paul whispered to Lisa, I think we just turned humans are weird liars into humans are creative problem solvers. Lisa nodded. But the Vraxians won't give up so easily. This is just the beginning of a bigger conflict. And she was right. The strangest species in the galaxy had just become the most interesting one as well. 1 year had passed since the first humans arrived at the Galactic Council station. The human embassy now had over 50 people from Earth. After the incident with the Vraxian ships, many council species had changed their view of humans. They still found humans strange, but now they also found them interesting and sometimes helpful. Lisa Wright sat in her office reviewing reports when her communication device buzzed. The face of High Counselor Ixyle appeared on the screen. Commander. Right, your presence is requested at an emergency council meeting, Ixyle said in his slow, deep voice. Please bring your science team as well. What's happening? Lisa asked. A quantum anomaly has appeared near the Centauri system. 3 worlds are in danger. We need your help. Lisa was surprised. This was the first time the Council had directly asked for human assistance with a major crisis. We'll be there right away. An hour later, Lisa stood in the Council chamber with Dr. Alan Green and Dr. Olivia Brown, a quantum physicist who had arrived from Earth 3 months ago. The chamber was filled with worried Council members and their scientific advisors. High Counselor Ixile addressed the room. The anomaly is growing at an alarming rate. Our standard containment methods have failed. We have brought our human allies here because— Yi paused, seeming uncomfortable. Because we need your sleep. The humans exchanged confused looks. I don't understand, Lisa said. How can our sleep help with a quantum anomaly? Perhaps I can explain, said a tall, thin alien with glowing spots along its body. I am Chief Scientist Narration of the Quantum Studies Division. We have been studying human sleep and dreams since you arrived. We believe they may be the key to solving this crisis. Dr. Olivia Brown stepped forward. Are you saying you want us to dream about the problem? Precisely, Narration said, the spots on its body pulsing with excitement. Our species process information through logical algorithms. We analyze data in sequence. But humans, when you sleep, your brains make connections between seemingly unrelated ideas. You see patterns we cannot see, the Council members murmured. Among themselves, some nodded in agreement. Others looked doubtful. The quantum anomaly defies our logical analysis, Narration continued. We believe we need human intuition, what you call thinking outside the box, to find a solution. Lisa looked at her team. We can try, but I'm not sure how to direct our dreams toward a specific problem. I may have an idea, Olivia said. On Earth, I was part of a research program that studied problem-solving during sleep. If we review all the data about the anomaly before sleeping, our brains might work on it while we dream. The Council agreed. To the plan. For the next 8 hours, the human team studied everything known about the quantum anomaly. They looked at sensor readings, mathematical models, and reports from the affected planets. When they couldn't absorb any more information, they went to their quarters to sleep. Lisa lay in her bed, her mind still racing with quantum equations and emergency reports. Eventually, her eyes grew heavy and she drifted off to sleep. In her dream, she saw the anomaly not as a problem in space, but as a knot in a piece of string. The more the Council pulled on the ends of the string, the tighter the knot became. But when she simply pushed one loop through another, the knot dissolved. She woke up with the image still clear in her mind. She quickly called Olivia and Alan. Did you dream about the anomaly? Yes, Olivia said excitedly. I saw it as a musical note that was out of tune with the rest of the universe. We need to change the frequency to bring it back into harmony. Alan nodded. I dreamed it was like an immune response, the universe trying to fix something that was damaged. We shouldn't fight it. We should help it complete its purpose. They rushed back to the Council chamber, where many of the aliens had remained, all night still working on the problem. Lisa noticed they looked tired, but not in the same way humans did. They didn't need sleep, but long periods of work still drained their energy. We have some ideas, Lisa announced. The Council members turned to look at her, some with hope, others with skepticism. Olivia explained their dreams and how they might relate to the real problem. The anomaly isn't an outside force attacking those worlds. It's a natural response to something that's already wrong in that system. If we try to destroy it, we'll only make it worse. Instead, Alan added, we need to help it complete its correction, but in a controlled way that doesn't harm the inhabited worlds. The Council scientists listened with growing interest. Chief Scientist Narration's spots glowed brighter. This matches some of our readings, but we didn't see the pattern. The anomaly's energy signature does show signs of a corrective harmonic. For the next several hours, the human team worked with the Council scientists to develop a new approach. Instead of trying to contain or destroy the anomaly, they would guide it to complete its natural function while protecting the inhabited worlds. When the plan was ready, the Council sent ships to the Centauri system. Using the new approach, they were able to resolve the anomaly without any loss of life. The planets were safe. Upon their return, the Council held a special ceremony to thank the human team. High Counselor Ixile stood before the gathered representatives of dozens of species. "Today marks a historic moment in Council history," he said. "For the first time, we have witnessed the true value of biological diversity. The humans' unique traits, their sleep, their dreams, their intuitive thinking saved 3 worlds and billions of lives." He turned to face Lisa and her team. "The Council formally recognizes that what makes humans different also makes them valuable. We hereby reclassify humans from Category 7 anomalous organisms to Category 1 essential allies." The chamber erupted in sounds of approval. Many Council members who had once feared humans now looked at them with new respect. As the ceremony ended, a young Council aide approached Lisa. "Commander, is it true that humans can teach other species how to dream?" Lisa smiled. "I don't know, but I think it would be interesting to try." Word spread quickly through the station. Soon, dozens of species were asking the humans to teach them about dreaming, imagination, and creative thinking. Dr. Allen set up classes on human creativity. Dr. Olivia began working with alien scientists to study how their brains might be capable of dreamlike states with the right training. In her quarters that night, Lisa recorded a message to send back to Earth. "Something amazing is happening here," she said. "We came to the stars hoping to learn from advanced alien civilizations, but it turns out they're learning from us too. The strangest species in the galaxy has become its greatest teacher." As she prepared for sleep, Lisa wondered what new ideas her dreams might bring tonight. And somewhere on the station, for the first time, a non-human mind was learning to dream as well. 5 years had passed since humans first arrived at the Galactic Council Station. The human embassy had grown into a small city within the station. With over 300 people from Earth, humans now served on many council committees and worked alongside alien species on various projects. The embassy was officially named the Embassy of Anomalies, a name the humans had embraced with good humor. Lisa Wright, now Admiral Wright, stood on the bridge of the ISV Horizon, the first ship in the new joint human-alien fleet. The crew included members from 12 different species, each bringing their unique abilities to the team. "Status report," Lisa said, looking at the large display screen that showed their position near the edge of council space. Lieutenant Paul Morgan, now her second-in-command, replied, "All systems normal, Admiral." The Nimbalan engineers report. "The new dream-inspired drive system is working perfectly." Lisa nodded with satisfaction. The fleet's motto, "We sleep on it, then we solve it," had become famous throughout Council space. Many of their best technologies now came from human dreams. Combined with alien technical skills, their peaceful patrol was interrupted by an urgent message from the Council station. High Counselor Ixile's face appeared on the main screen. "Admiral Wright, you must return to the station immediately," he said, his usually calm voice filled with concern. "Something is happening at the galactic core. Something ancient has awakened?" Lisa didn't waste time asking questions. "We're on our way, expected arrival in 6 hours." When they reached the station, Lisa and Paul rushed to the emergency meeting already in progress. The council chamber was packed with representatives from all member species. Sam Porter, the human ambassador to the council, waved them over. "What's happening?" Lisa whispered as she took her seat. "They're calling themselves the Harmony," Sam explained quietly. "An ancient species that has been dormant in the galactic core for millions of years. They've sent messages to all major worlds." "They don't sound friendly." High Counselor Ixile stood at the center of the chamber. "The Harmony claims this galaxy belongs to them. They say all other intelligent life is an infestation to be removed. Their ships have already destroyed 2 outer colony worlds." The chamber filled with sounds of fear and anger. Some representatives shouted for immediate surrender. Others called for all-out war. "We've faced threats before," a Vesperi representative clicked. What makes these harmonies so dangerous? A small, elderly alien that Lisa recognized as Professor Zorn, the Council's most respected historian, floated to the center of the room. The harmony are unique, Zorn said in a thin, whispery voice. According to ancient records, they evolved to prey on other intelligent species. They can predict the behavior of any logical mind with perfect accuracy. No strategy, no defense, no attack ever surprised them. That is why our ancestors could not defeat them millions of years ago. Then how did your ancestors survive? Paul asked. The harmony went dormant for unknown reasons, Zorn replied. And they simply retreated to the core and disappeared. Until now. The council debated for hours about how to respond to the harmony threat. None of their ideas seemed promising. If the harmony could predict their every move, how could they fight? Back? As the meeting continued without progress, Lisa leaned over to Sam. The harmony evolved to predict logical minds. But what about illogical ones? Sam's eyes widened with understanding. Humans. Not just humans, Lisa said, but human. Creativity, unpredictability, and especially our dreams. The harmony evolved long before humans existed. They've never encountered anything like us. Sam stood up and addressed the council. Honored representatives, I believe humans may be uniquely positioned to help with this threat. The harmony can predict logical patterns, but humans often act in ways that defy logic. You think the harmony cannot predict human behavior? Exile asked. I think they've never encountered a species that dreams, creates fiction, and sometimes acts on intuition rather than logic, Sam replied. We might be able to develop strategies they cannot anticipate. The council gave humans permission to lead the defense effort. For the next week, Lisa worked with military leaders from all council species to develop what they called Operation Nightmare, a battle strategy so seemingly illogical that it might confuse the harmony's predictive abilities. When the harmony fleet approached the council's main defense line, Operation Nightmare began. Human ships moved in random patterns instead of standard formations. They broadcast fiction stories and music on all channels instead of military commands. Some ships retreated when they should have advanced. Others played dead, then suddenly attacked from unexpected angles. At first, council ships that followed traditional strategies were quickly destroyed by the harmony. But the human-led ships, and those following human directions, survived and even managed to damage some harmony vessels. It's working, Paul reported excitedly. Their targeting efficiency drops by 60% when we act unpredictably. The battle raged for 3 days. The council forces suffered heavy losses, but they held the line. The harmony, for the first time in their ancient history, faced an enemy they could not perfectly predict. On the 4th day, as both sides regrouped, something unexpected happened. The harmony requested communication. Lisa, Sam, and High Counselor Ixal gathered in the communication room. The screen showed a strange, shifting pattern of light that somehow formed words in their minds rather than being heard or read. You are not like the others, the harmony communicated. You think wrong? We think differently, Sam corrected. Not wrong. Your patterns cannot be predicted, the harmony continued. This has never happened. How do you do this? Lisa stepped forward. We dream, we imagine. We create stories that never happened. Sometimes we act on feelings instead of logic. There was a long pause before the harmony responded. This is unknown to us. We cannot hunt what we cannot predict. For the next several hours, the humans explained human creativity, dreams, and intuition to the harmony. They sent examples of human art, music, and stories. The harmony seemed both confused and fascinated. Finally, the harmony made an unexpected offer. We will return to the core. We will study these dreams and stories. We will contact you again when we understand. Just like that, the harmony fleet withdrew. The war ended as suddenly as it had begun. In a special ceremony held a week later, the Galactic Council formally changed humanity's classification from Category 1 Essential Allies to Guardians of the Galaxy. The title recognized that humanity's strange traits had saved all intelligent life from extinction. As the ceremony ended, Lisa stood with Sam and Paul, looking out at the stars through the station's massive observation window. "So, the strangest species in the galaxy saved everyone because we're strange," Paul said with a smile. "Not just strange," Sam replied. "Different in a way that matters," Lisa nodded. "And now we're teaching that difference to others." Across the station, in specially designed rooms, aliens from dozens of species were learning to sleep and dream for the first time. Human instructors helped them relax their minds and explore the world of imagination. Some species took to it quickly, others struggled. But all were eager to learn this strange human skill that had saved the galaxy. "I wonder what the council will think of next," Lisa said as she watched a young Vesperi leave a dream class, its antennae twitching with excitement. "Whatever it is," Sam said, "I'm sure it will be strange to us. That's the beauty of the galaxy." "We're all strange to someone," Lisa smiled. "And that's what makes us stronger together." In the years that followed, humans spread throughout the galaxy, bringing their strange ways to hundreds of worlds. And everywhere they went, they taught others to embrace their differences, to think creatively, and most importantly, to dream.